when I say this to the governance members, just a reminder out here, you are the representative of the community. You are making the decisions. The core team is not. We're here to help. We're here to evangelize. We're here to actually to do as best we possibly can. But at the end of the day, we picked you because of your background, your diversity, your knowledge, and who you are, because you represent the community. So just a reminder, VOI is a chain for you all. And that's why we call it VOI, because it's Italian for you all. So love reminding everybody, and I'm going to remind everybody for the rest of my life, which, as sick as I feel, might be about a day. But anyway, is that what you mean my update when you say Chris update, or do you want me to talk about something else, Shanti?
No, this is the time where you can talk about anything.
Ooh, I can talk about anything. It's amazing. I'm actually really stoked about Cyber Monday. If you didn't know, we ran an hour-long D13, which I think is actually in the crowd, gave me the idea of that Stripe, which is probably, if not the largest, if not one of the largest, if not the largest payment processor in the entire world, did around 850 transactions per second on Black Friday. And I was like, well, we can do more than that. We can do a lot more than that, but let's actually do a long form stress test. So on Monday, starting at, I think it was noon or one of the two, we Eastern time, we pegged it at 1,000 for an entire hour. And it was boring. Boring in the best of ways, because no peers were dropped. I don't even think any participation nodes stopped reporting. All of the relay nodes ran perfectly. And it was me on a Twitter Spaces talking to people, staring at graphs. But Benny has all of the data and told me this morning he's going to do a write-up on all of it. So it's going to be amazing, because boy, can that guy write. But you can actually read through it. But we proved that we could handle the biggest payment processor in the entire world on their busiest day on VOI, no problem. I think later we're going to do a much stronger stress test. I think I'm going to try to peg it at 3K, probably not for a full hour, because it gets really expensive for the relay node runners to take all that data in. So we'll probably do it a smaller amount of time, probably 10, 15 minutes ish. So we can do 3K. That's going to push our decentralized distributed system quite hard. I'm excited to see what happens there. I think we're going to see more movement on the peers. But I'm partnering with D13 and Eartho and hopefully Dragon Z on doing not just these one type of stress test, because one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we always hear out there, Solana and Algorand and all of these chains that talk about, like, what are the theoretical TPS, and they yell it from the rooftops. I think that TPS strutting is silly, personally. And I think real world, or as real as we can get, examples of, like, okay, we're going to stress test how many payment transactions we can do. How many swaps can we do? How many XYZ? How many intertransactions can we do? And build a full report around all of this, so that when the other chains come knocking on the door and say, hey, how many transactions for you to do? Like, we can say, look, here's an actual report of real world examples distributed with close to 500 voting nodes. Yes, we're doing it on testnet, but honestly, we are actually more decentralized and distributed than many, many, many chains out there already. So that's what I'm really excited for, and why we're doing the stress test. And thank you once again for D13 and also Eartho. Which, I don't know if Eartho watches these, but if you do, thank you for that. And that's the big thing. Friendsgiving. I guess I invited everybody just now instead of just you, which is fun. More people, the merrier. Am I right, everybody? Right. Not only are we going to actually do giveaways, you're hearing it here, folks. I need to catch up to Gov, because he made me look bad every time I send somebody via as like a thank you. He comes in, he's like, here's 10x what Chris gave you. So now on Friendsgiving, I'm going to probably do some giveaways for people that show up. So if you want to show up and have fun, there's probably going to be some via for you. Right after the Friendsgiving, there's going to be a huge poker tournament. I'm pretty sure Bill is sponsoring all of it because he didn't even ask me when he said it. So, but we're going to do $1 million or $1 million game, no, $1 million via game with Womp Crew. They've done an amazing job so far. Bill, you want to kind of touch base on that a little bit?
Yeah, we've been running the Monday night Womp Crew poker game for a couple weeks now. Started out with Voy. This week we shifted to Via, and the weekly game's up to 250,000 Via pot. We usually get about 50 to 60 or so players each week. A lot of good onboarding, a lot of good rewards for people that have been supportive, and for Friendsgiving, I thought it was a good idea to bump it up to $1 million via for the pot. Top 10 winners will be taking something home.
The other thing I'm going to talk about here is we're starting to gear up for the token wars, which you all know what token wars are. But one of the things that we are going to do is we're going to actually market it. So we're looking to find good marketing partners to help us with that. So if any of you in the crowd know of good marketing partners that you think you'd recommend, great. We have a few that we know of already, but we want to make sure that people from the other communities know about token wars because I want it to be ridiculous. I can't wait until someone rugs me with their tokens. It's gonna be fun. So the reminder there. The other great fun news: Shanti has picked the date of the glorious hackathon where I will win everything. Or we'll see. Where it's what's the date? It's going to be January
5th to the 7th.
5th to the 7th. And you are all participating, so hurry up and learn how to code. There's lots that needs to be done. Just kidding, but probably not. But I'm going to participate. Benny's going to participate. Actually, several people in the crowd will. Mariano, you can actually participate the week before and then just submit your entry. We'll trust you. We'll trust you. Just get something done. We need a lot done. But we're gonna have a good time. We're going to form teams. I might buy people pizza. It's gonna be like a real hackathon. We're gonna set up Rome, so we'll have like tables where we can come and talk. And the main thing here is we have a good people that signed up already, but we want more. So I know a lot of you know other developers in the Algorand ecosystem. If you're connected developers, I'll tell you what. All right, every developer that you get to join, I'll give you 100,000 via.
And they'll get more from Bill.
And then Bill, no, you can't. This is mine, Bill.
Past performance is indicative of future returns.
Yes. So if you are out in the crowd or if you're listening and you know of a developer and you get them to participate, I'll give you 100,000 via, up to like $1 million. Because so I'll do 10. So the first 10, because who knows? But anyway, because I don't have that much via. But that's everything from me. If you have any questions, you can jump up here to the main stage. But if not, I will pass it over to the wonderful Shanti.
Okay, so we have a very short proposal review process, but let us bring Zarmian to the stage. Shelly will be reviewing Zarmian's proposal for the token distribution script.
Oh, let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen? Okay. Hey, this is Shelly. I'm presenting the due diligence on token distribution scripts by Zarmian, who is requesting 10 million via for work that has already been completed. So just going over the quick summary. So this is all written up in a document. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll just go over the document. So the problem solved needed a way to distribute rewards and the initial airdrop for Voy to kick off the participation notes. and also some a way to transfer testnet Voy and via to mainnet. So that's the problem. The solution was to put together a set of scripts to be able to carry out the task of distributing rewards to nodes, relays, airdrops, and migrate to mainnet. Let's see. The proposer, who's the proposer? Is he qualified? Zarmian. It was submitted by Zarmian. I don't know if Zarmian got that. He did a review for a proposal by Chris, and he said it was submitted by Chris. So he's qualified. So I went over the review from the committee, and most of the feedback was positive. The only concern was the token quantity. But personally, I found it reasonable, considering the work is done, and it involves some follow-up work that I trust that Zarmian will complete. Then I did get some feedback from Benny, which who hey Benny, can you hear me? Okay.
I can, yes.
Okay, thank you. I did get some feedback from Benny. So Benny has been using the script since the launch of mainnet and uses it about twice a week to conduct the rewards for notes. And so the intended use of this, I did ask him about the intended use of the script. So not just rewards, not just distributing rewards. It will come into play during the token wars, which wasn't, I guess that's good to know. And so asked about any issues and if Zarmian was responsive. And he said, yes, there were some issues that were fixed. Zarmian was good. He was responsive to, come up with solutions around the issues. So the solution has already been delivered. As you know, we have been rewards have been distributed for more than a month now, and there still are some parts that are left incomplete, which is the bucketing script, the migration to the taking the testnet Voy and Via and migrating a portion of that to mainnet. That's okay in my opinion. Are the scripts used in production? Yes, they are. Testnet production in this case. Open source, yes. So that's good. Final bucket. So I did ask Benny about the final bucket script. It's something that's going, it's work in progress. You probably won't see any development until later in the stages of incentivized testnet. Let's see, what else do we have? So I did have some responses from Benny regarding the bucketing, how that might work. So just in case anyone's interested, they could read the DD doc. And I went through the code and looked at how it worked, how the scripts work. So they just you have one. So I did make a diagram. So if anyone is interested in looking at that, that's fine. So spotlight key benefits challenges. So it's the script is used in production currently, and it's open source, and it's going to be important when we're going to be migrating to mainnet eventually. So that's something to take into account when considering the token quantity, which there were concerns in the feedback from community review, and then the rest of the DD template. Most of the general questions were not applicable. So just ending here with me. In my recommendation, I would like to endorse this proposal, despite the concerns regarding token quantity. Thank you. Any questions from me or Zarmian to finish off? I don't know if I could hear you guys.
No, we weren't talking. You did a great job. We were just in awe of this well done, incredibly thorough thing. I think that's Zarmian in the crowd. You did a great job. I think that's it works every single week. There's no reason whatsoever that you should not receive this. So that's my recommendation. My recommendation to everybody as well is matching Shelley's. So listen and vote through. Let's get this passed ASAP. Thank you, Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley. Okay, awesome. Reminder, we have one proposal in the community review stage. It's Ipalaka's VOI reward system. So please go and take a look and provide your comments in Discord. And next we have Wilder.
Awesome. Yeah, that was an amazing presentation. I love the graphics for a person like myself to try to understand it a bit better. Thank you. So this week we had our first meeting with myself and the two vice chairs. We were able to go over the tier-based proposals, Scotty's Operation Holiday, which was standardizing the council meetings, and it was great. We used Roam, which was we had some technical difficulties, but I think the consensus is we want to continue to use the platform, get used to it, and then moving forward, hopefully it's an integral part of VOI, and our time spent learning this interface is going to be well worth it. So right now we have it planned where Mondays at 1 p.m. EST is our meeting time, same as last week was, and we're going to try to maintain that cadence until we get through the pressing issues that have sort of piled up because no one's been in this role for the last little bit. So first thing I'll do is just recap the tier-based proposal and what it sort of finalized on and what was passed. The 25 million for the top for tier 1 was lowered to 15 million so that more people will have a say in that final approval for those projects. Also, we added a requirement for the person who does due diligence, and if they're not available, a chair or another committee member who can be found to match that will be responsible for going back to the project around the final month of testnet to gain feedback, have a discussion, so we can understand the impact that their application or their proposal has had on testnet. This is also going to be tied to releasing funds. There were concerns raised about 100% payouts on completion of a MVP, and that somebody will launch something that won't get used and won't sort of offer value to the ecosystem. So by holding back a portion of these testnet funds, which will definitely go to the team before the testnet is over, we're ensuring a little bit more of a long-term commitment from people who are passing proposals. That being said, I realize everyone who's done a proposal before this didn't have that expectation when they wrote them. So this is going to be on a go forward basis, not to impact the proposal that we've already passed. Just on that note, before I move on to Operation Holiday, does anybody have any comments on that? I know we gave this is kind of our first time passing a chair document without getting everybody else's vote, but we will have a document coming as well that will outline that in the coming weeks once we get to the most pressing stuff. Okay, I'm going to move on to, and just step up to the mic if you want to say something. I'll mute myself. So Operation Holiday, this is what we looked at last week. It was the image I shared. I'm going to share the document, or I'm going to share the picture once again in the chat. One or two files I'm going to upload today. So this was the other topic of discussion in our 1 hour open office. We couldn't think of it makes complete sense to have things synced up on the Wednesday, considering it's already our known time that we're all meeting. The idea of increasing the community review period from 7 days to 7 days to 13 days. We tried to weigh the negatives of that, of the delay of it going through the process. But we also recognize that there's been a lot of cases where proposals have a lot of comments that need to be rewritten, and that community review period can last longer than 7 days. So we don't think this will negatively impact the process. That is the only change. We won't be changing the expedited evaluation. So in that circumstance, that is where it's not going to sync up. It won't be convenient, right? And this is an expedited.
My only request, Weiler, is that if it does make things longer and slows things down, you reevaluate, because it's important to me and it's important to people that grow the proposals that these get done quickly.
Yeah, the change to the current structure was, now we've taken the ambiguous period for when due diligence was being done, because proposals had to wait until the next meeting came, and we've kind of moved that due diligence wait period to like the community review period. So all would 100%. That's I guess an important thing about anything that we're doing in this position. If you think we're doing the wrong thing, we can be removed and replaced, but our goal is to make things work better. So if something we do doesn't, it's definitely up to be changed. So that being said, we also discussed this. We were all in agreement about this as well. It's a structural change. It's not asking for tokens, and we want to pass this as well. I wanted to pass this one in the call. So if Andrew and Zyphoid are available to show their support here, either from the stage or he's coming up and saying something.
No way, Wilder. You serious? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, definitely support it. We've had some great conversations. Us three. I think Zyphoid, I spoke with him before this call. He is flying somewhere, so I don't think he's on here. Or if he is, I mean, obviously feel free to jump up here. But not to speak for him, but I think we're all on the same page. So
thank you, and please come join us at 1 p.m. if you want to be part of these conversations. And we're just trying to serve the committee and the community as best we can. So look forward to this. This will be the new schedule. Your Wednesdays and Saturdays are going to be your kind of deadline days, whether it's meetings or starting to look at things for second evals and first evals. You'll definitely be notified by email when expedited proposals come through. Okay, so that's the second thing. And finally, this is with Lobo. Lobo's been spearheading this. I'll take a moment now to speak about what I was able to accomplish this week personally. I reached out to Headline, and I've asked both people if I could talk about this. I reached out to Headline. I talked about a lot of the open source tools they had made and sort of how they could apply that to the hackathon and the bounty. And they knew about Voy, but they hadn't sort of, I guess, followed closely and weren't aware of how much we've grown in this time, and they were quite excited about contributing and being part of this. And I also was able to coordinate with Cosmic Champs, working on some form of a proposal, and I'll be sharing this with Cody and working with the community, but trying to bring some form of a gaming tournament or some way that people can play games and get rewarded in Via or Voy, and have a way to participate if they're not a technical user. Okay, so I think a lot of people aren't aware of how much we've grown and the way that the incentivized testnet is broken into stages. So it's a great opportunity to reach out to people you are already acquainted with, or in my case, reaching out to people that I sort of trust and have built solid relationships with. So the final thing, and Lobo's here in backstage, you can come up now. It's going over the discrepancy between and sort of how block rewards are happening right now. There's three big takeaways from this before Lobo goes into a great presentation. There's a very large gap between a node runner and a committee member, and it's getting worse, and you'll see that. There's a very large gap between early adoption and next to early adoption, and I think you're going to be surprised by just how big of a difference it makes based on when you joined the testnet. And the thing to think about is how do we try to make the community that we do have happy? I know we've talked about the 125 participation nodes, but we have a community of, there are 400 nodes running right now. We are getting some level of negative feedback based on the gap that's existing, and I definitely think I want everyone to be able to sort of give their 2 cents, share their thoughts, and we'll be able to apply this to the proposal we'll make in the future about how to amend this and relay rewards. So Lobo, if you want to come up, and you can share screen or share the document, or I can.
Yeah, I will do it. So I can go through it. Can you all see my screen? Yes, looks good. Okay, so so a few slides. So the first one is about the gap of like node runners and committee members. And what I did, I just estimated like how the gap would, how in general, like how much a normal average committee member would earn in the end, and how much average week 1 node runner would earn in the end of the 6 months. And it turns out, like, surprisingly, like it will stay around like 15% at the moment, which I personally think, and like also getting feedback from some community members, is like too low. I think we should aim for something at least closer to 50%. I think like a first measure would be like going to like 1/3, so like 33%. And then get maybe some additional feedback by community members and so on.
Lobo,
But
is that
yeah.
15% per node or running 2 nodes?
1 node. So you can, if you want 2 nodes, like get to 30% now already, but not everyone. So there are additional costs to it. So you probably, if you want a home node, you then have to get a cloud node. So you can get to 30% with 2 nodes, but I think that's where, like, if we can get to like 33% with 1 node and like 66% with 2 nodes, that might be in general just better for the community to be able to achieve that. Okay, next one. Week 1 versus week 2. It turns out the health rewards help. So even if, like, if you look at the sheet I posted, it was like around 45%, I think, like 1.5 months in. The health rewards help, and so I estimated it would be the difference would be like 1.66 million for a week 1 node runner, but only 63% for a week 2 node runner, which feels off because just being 1 week off means like you're only getting 2/3 of the rewards, which shouldn't be the case in my opinion. If we look at month 1 versus month 2, so what I mean by that is like a week 1 again versus someone who started week 5 essentially, so month 2, they would end up with 41%. And month 1 versus month 3 would be like 27%. So just to keep these numbers in mind, the difference is a little bit too much in my opinion. So we thought about ways to solve these two problems we just saw.
Wait, you think the difference is too much for this month 3? Because this month 3 feels almost accurate to me.
Yeah, okay, month 3 is accurate. Sorry, I am on the slide by just in general, like from week 1 to week 2.
I gotta say, like to me, month 2 and month 3 look fine, but I agree. What week 1 to week 2, there's a too big a gap there.
Okay. So we have like these two problems. So like, if you are just a node runner and not a community member, how you can maybe earn more, and how maybe smaller nodes can catch up a little bit better. So I went through two ideas essentially. The first one was introducing a void cap for nodes. So what I mean by that is on the left we see numbers are different because I would have to do some real data analysis to get this done for like the real data we have for Voi. So what I just did, I said, okay, let's look at a network where there are only 2 nodes. One started week 1, one started week 2, and just estimated like how it would end up. On the left is like the baseline of that. And then I introduced a cap. So what I did was like, we see like after 2 months, the week 1 node runner has like in this case, okay, 130 million Voi. Ignore the explicit number. And then what would happen is they wouldn't get any more Voi, but VIA at this point. And know something maybe counterintuitive. We give them a bonus in VIA. Okay, why? Because mathematically, in the long run, this would mean they would end up with the same amount, or they would tend to infinity like at the same rate. In this case, what I did was like give like a VIA bonus of 10%. If they get a bonus, they might be also inclined to not cheat, because of course you can, okay, I had the cap, I now spin up a second node and just everything so I keep like my one node just under the cap and get more Voi, but maybe this bonus helps them to not cheat essentially. And as we can see, like in this example, with this bonus, they end up with the same amount in the end. Okay, important to note is here, we have like 12.5 million Voi as rewards for blocks. And how I simulated it here would be like, we would convert some of that Voi to VIA. So part of that bonus, not really the bonus, but like the general node rewards for like the 130 million Voi in this case would be paid out in VIA instead of Voi. And what happens in the background is just the total online stake by non-balanced nodes doesn't get diluted so much, which helps like to get to these same numbers in the end. And what we see is like we end from 57%, we get to like 68%. Again, don't expect to like, if we would change that on testnet, we would get like this 10% increase as well. But we see like something changes, and maybe we could use this idea. Okay, then another idea. Lower stake node runners earn more rewards per block. So on the left, we again have like a baseline example, like week 1, week 2, month 2. Just in general, here again, like it's a artificial thing. So don't look at the numbers really. The percentages and how they change are the most important things. And what I did was I calculated the bonus as like 100% to 0% if your stake is under the average. And so what we end up with is from the week 2 would end up not with 50% in this case, but with 59%. So we get those smaller, in this case, a week 2 node runner would be considered a smaller stake node runner, up by like 10% again. And we see like also the month 2 earns more proportionally. Okay, these are some ideas we discussed, and this is what happens if we combine those ideas. So just again the same thing. So we have a bonus if your stake is under the average, and we have a cap. And in this case, a bonus of 20% to get a little bit closer to the number the week 1 node runners were getting. And we see like we could bump the week 2 node runner up by like 15% in this case, which is a significant amount in my opinion. So it turns out in like this really rough simulations, these two ideas could help with like one of the problems. And if we then talk again about the difference of node runners and committee members, this would probably we have to just like we bump up in general just the rewards. Okay, yeah. What was my last slide? My last slide. Any questions, ideas?
I think you did a great job with this, Lobo. I think that you thought of things I didn't think of. And so do you recommend this last slide as the way to go?
So you mean like doing both?
Yeah, like what is your recommendation after looking at all of these?
That's a good question. I never thought about this question. I was like, okay, I present the idea, maybe we can talk about it and come up with either new ideas or just say, oh, this they look great. I think that at least I would see like the lower stake node runners should earn maybe a little bit more, because I think they should have they shouldn't catch up fully, of course, like to week 1, week 2 stuff, but they should have a chance to get maybe a little bit closer.
I agree.
I personally like the idea of this cap, because then again, more people will have VIA, and
I think more people have VIA would be great. That's not a downside by any means.
Yeah, but also if we do like a retroactive airdrop for like VIA to bump like the to tackle the gap between node runners and committee members, this way they also would have VIA. So it's not like this bonus they get if the cap is hit would be like the only way for them.
I envision, of course, this is not in stone, but I envision the NFT stage, the currency to purchase the NFTs will be actually in VIA and not VOI. And I think that's the node runners will would benefit greatly from actually having more VIA than because at the end of the day, VOI, I think VOI is going to play a big hand in the DeFi stage, but in the NFT stage, I think there's going to be a lot of node runners that aren't going to want to spend their VOI to be able to purchase the NFTs. So I think them having more VIA would be better.
I see. Good point. And maybe, so you know it, the average online stake at the moment is 260K. At least I calculated this.
Okay.
Hope it's right. So just in general, so it would really help in this case more the ones under 260K if we reward more lower stake node runners. Maybe
Gotcha.
that's also important to know.
Now, so my second concern is around the complication of, number one, setting up these new rules. How hard is it going to actually to adjust the current scripts to be able to apply this directly? And the second thing is, how hard is it going to be to look back and make things right from previous?
I think we shouldn't look back and like implement those two ideas. I think what we should do we should go back and just do a general via airdrop to bump up numbers. I don't think like retroactively implementing these ideas would. I mean, of course it would help, but I don't think that the complications that come with it, like you said, are really worth it. We could.
I agree.
So I don't know if this.
And then the third
do.
thing, I would say that I think that what I would do is I would recommend the committee to pick 2, maybe 3 options and present this to the node runners and say, which one do you guys like most? Just because I want to make sure that they know that they have a say in these rewards, and I don't want to make them think that we're, lording above them or that we didn't get their opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially if we look at the cap thing. We wouldn't be able to like choose the bonus in VIA to actually make it that week 1 node runners will end up with the same amount of FOI plus VIA in the end. That's something I can do in these basic simulations, but it's nothing we can really do. So they might earn more or less in the end, depending on where we set the cap. What I did now was like looking at month 2. So
I really worry about the setting cap option, just because that will really incentivize people to cheat. Maybe they won't, but if they look at it and say, okay, well, I'm at a cap, I'm going to now split this into 2 and not tell anybody I'm running a new participation node.
I thought about this as well, and I think due to the counterintuitive structure of like this bonus, so they get more per month starting like early month 3, and then they could earn less in the end, but the math is too hard to actually calculate it, so they would have to take a guess, and maybe it's too complicated.
But they're all
so
degens, so
cheat.
they'll definitely guess. Roll those dice.
That might be the case, but that's why I wouldn't propose it without this catch of this bonus. But you're right, maybe more people would cheat. Yeah, that's kind of the game at the moment. We don't know how much they would be. They are already cheating, or they would cheat then after introducing these new ideas.
Excellent. Well, people in the crowd, step up to the mic and give your opinion. Don't make me the only one talking.
I've got one ready to go just from having a conversation with him yesterday about this. I think looking at the 15% for one node of a committee member's earnings, I think we've talked about it before, but a doubling I think looks reasonable, and that brings earnings up to around 60% of a committee member. As far as the node size that we have right now, between this like 400 and 500 number, which maybe is half if people are running 2, I think we should aim to make our current group happy with the increase in rewards, with the understanding that if you want to earn more VIA or more incentivized testnet rewards, then you should go to a relay node and sort of push people in that direction instead of keep allowing people to earn more and more through the participation nodes, because we are a little bit askew in that balance. And the discrepancy between the people who are going to be disgruntled, in my opinion, the most from the node runner community would be the people who are maybe losing their advantage between how early they started in week 1 versus someone in week 2 in a month. But I think that's tempered with an overall boost that everybody will be experiencing. So I don't have as very good an opinion on the actual way to solve the problem. I just know like what two things we're trying to solve with this, and I definitely think between those two approaches, we'll get there.
Just to note, the earlier simulations where I looked at like week 1, week 2 for 6 months, I used like inflation of node count of 10% per month, I think. Because I looked at the inflation of node amounts like in month 1 and month 2. It was, I think, more like 20% or even more, because even, okay, if you look at month 1, probably 50%. Then it went down a bit. I estimated it, I just used 10% to pick, because I anticipate less users coming in. So at least less users than we have now, that we had coming in like a few weeks ago. But just to note that these were used in the simulations as well. So yeah.
To Oof's comment, I think the best choice for getting direct node runner feedback, all the node runners already go through Discord. We already have a polling bot where we can have like A/B. So what if we have 3 options? We could have like an A, B, C, and if you have the node runner role, you can place a vote type of idea. But I think we already have a system where we can get their feedback, and we definitely don't have to decide everything. We can just sort of do the work, present to them what we think our best ideas are, and hand it over. So I'm definitely in agreement with letting the node runners have the say in this.
Okay. Then maybe just a general question. Should we pick numbers before letting them vote on something, or would it be like, okay, vote
Nope.
on? Okay.
Yeah, give them as few options as possible. Like I literally
Yeah,
2 or 3.
pick
Like,
X.
do you want this one, or this one?
Makes sense. And maybe to just ask around, like, I think Wilder and I were like agreeing on like to up the node incentives like by 2x. Are there any? Is there anything against?
I like
it?
2x.
Okay.
I think 2x makes sense.
D13, do you want to add some comments?
Yeah, first of all, I disagree with anything that's nonlinear to stake. It's really easy to game. It's going to only make it harder to do honest, like a delegated token that I'm planning, but this is not just about that. So I also mixing in Voi and Via is also a little bit kind of weird. I think we can suppose that most of the people who are gonna run nodes have already done so, right?
I think
don't know.
we're estimating 10% growth.
Okay, I'm not sure how people who start now are ever gonna catch up.
I mean,
given- Go ahead.
they shouldn't be catching up fully, but maybe have a better chance. So if we have like someone out there and he sees like Voi and gets excited about it, it shouldn't be like, oh, I looked at the reward structure and I think I have no chance. Why should I participate? And I dislike that about the current structure. So I thought about like at least trying it to make it better for them.
So what I'd recommend for everyone who's run up to now, which can be adapted for future node runners as well, is to basically do a back reward based on Voi, which would bring their stake close to week 1 node runners, and that would let them compound based on their performance, basically both health and block rewards. That's going to bring everyone more or less on an even playing field. It's not going to require changing the distribution script. It's not going to require mixing Voi and Via. It doesn't involve non-linear caps like up to this, or I think that's probably the cleanest solution to making it an even playing field with people who are running right now, but yeah, maybe start a little bit later. And because I assume that you're going to ask about the projected 10% growth, something could be figured out for how this could happen systematically for people who sign up after today. So maybe a combination of running with a health score of more than X for a Y period of time. Then you get like backfilled. But obviously, we're not like the people who were here on week 1 do deserve to, have more stakes. So if we completely like flatten it and just make everyone, give everyone 1 million VOI flat, that would kind of, piss off a lot of people who have, put the time to set up reliable nodes and have like a 9.9 score and been running since day 1. But generally for last point, and I'll say the mic. So generally for any kind of reward system that does not, that is basically Sybil attack vulnerable, such as this for a participation node having a cap on VOI and then start adding VIA on top of that. Like VOI is going to be more valuable than VIA for the duration of the testnet. Yeah, I get the point that at the end it's gonna all like even out, but for the duration of the testing, which is still going to be months, you'd still be incentivized to spin a second node or try to obfuscate that you're running two accounts on the same node, and then swap your extra VOI for VIA if you want to have as VIA as well as VOI. So aside from like KYC, there's not a good way to make Sybil resistant incentives that are not linear to your stake. Thoughts?
Yeah, good point about the. Oh, sorry, Ben.
No, you go for it first, Lobo.
I just wanted to note that I didn't look at like, okay, next month we might have an AMM, we might have like VOI VIA pools, and then of course, like you said, like the VIA price wouldn't be probably one VOI, might be like way down, because like if you have VOI, you have like kinda a general mechanism to earn more VOI even more. So good point about that. And I know that the Sybil thing complicates stuff, and that's why I tried to complicate the math here with the bonus, so people wouldn't be sure how to game it the best way. But you're right, probably that we might focus on keeping it more simple. And then instead of like choosing a cap and then a bonus and going through all of this might be a little bit too much. Yeah.
Can I ask, because you know this data best. So the advantage of the first couple of weeks is both that they have the compounding effect of more stake, and also that there were fewer node runners to split the block and half rewards, right?
Yep.
Or was there another factor?
I don't think so. I mean, I just looked at the stakes and I saw, okay, they are rising like way faster than week 2 node runners, for example. So it must be like that we had around really like 100, 150 at week 1, and then we got like 2x, and until now like 3x node runners.
Okay, so something that can work non-linearly is to look at the past few weeks and see the number of recipients of the block rewards, and then calculate the like backfill airdrop sort of for based on that, based on each week's participation. Yeah, based on that. So allocate some million VOI to bring up the latecomers.
So I move that we continue this conversation. I think D13 had a lot of actually good points. Lobo, you did a great job of pulling some information in. I would just say that I don't see adding VIA as a potential reward as complicating it too much. Of course, anything adding could complicate it, but I would need to understand more why you think would be so much more complicated for adding VIA to it, V13. But not right now, because I think we need to wrap this up. We are now 3 minutes over, but I think we need to continue this conversation.
Yeah, just add. Look, but did you also look at increasing the weighting of health rewards as well, relative to the block rewards?
I didn't, because that would be like the easiest way to see if you can cheat the system. So if we like raise health rewards, it essentially says, here's a way to cheat, or here you can earn more by cheating. So I didn't want to touch this, because this was a far more obvious way to cheat, and like people would be kind of incentivized to do this.
I mean, in conjunction with maybe it's an extra 5 million via 2 health rewards could be interesting. But yeah, we can chat about it later.
Sorry, just like.
Can I make a final point?
Oh, yeah. Go D13, go.
So whether it's via the Devoy that I'm working on, which is a kind of staking delegation token, or through like some humble initiatives to put liquidity pools online, I think it would be very worth it in this testnet to see how the mechanics and the economics of having a staking token is going to play out for Voi. Also note that this problem is not really something that we should face on mainnet, as we won't really need to do the initial seed in such a way. So this is a testnet only problem. And if we can fix it in a way that does not complicate things with regards to node distribution with VIA, for example, a staking token would need to be ARC200 compatible to do Voi as well as VIA rewards. So that would make it a testnet only thing, because presumably in the future, it's just going to be like Voi rewards for Voi staking. So that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't mix it right now, and rather just fix the history rather than change the future.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to say we'll definitely be discussing this. This is going to be the focus of our Monday 1 p.m. open office. And to the community who's watching this, we hear you, and we are going to bring your node rewards up. We're just going to find the best ways to do that and let you decide.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lobo. Thanks, Welder. Feel free, Lobo, to continue in Discord. But thanks, everyone, for an amazing meeting. We'll see you all tomorrow.
At Friendsgiving.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Record